Cool.
Hey, Meg.
I think we're good to go. You snapping a snap?
I was going to take a picture.
All right. Well, Sam takes a picture and some more folks filter in. Cool. Thanks for joining us for Town Hall Part 1, lunch. Hi, everybody. You can make noise. It's loud. Yeah, that was cool. I don't know if that was going to work or not.
Hey.
We're going to do our best job. Sam's going to play timekeeper to keep this to an hour, be respectful of everyone's time. Appreciate you being able to join us for lunch. If anyone wants to come back for the second part, we're going to do more or less the same itinerary. But obviously, we're expecting there's going to be some different folks in the room, so maybe some new topics will come up across them. We'll make sure to recap, too. Anybody here for their first town hall? First time town hall? A couple of hands. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. Welcome. So for everybody who has been in the past, a reminder, and for the new folks, a little bit of expectation of how things go. The goal here, and maybe to even zoom out of like today and the bigger picture, I think what's real important is 2016 was kind of a crazy year for a lot of people, I think, for a lot of different reasons. But on the Indie Hall front, we got through a really big project in finding this new home, working together to make this place happen, moving in, and then the last couple months of sort of recovery and figuring out what to do, where to go next. And I have caught myself in a bit of a habit that I learned over the last 10, 12 months, which is, yeah, we'll talk about that after the move. And yeah, we'll talk, that's great. We'll do that after the move. And we've gotten to the point where it's after the move. You looking to see if it's recording? Yeah. It is. I'm on it. It's after the move, which is great. And I'm, for the first time myself, since after the move, actually feeling like myself, a big part of which is being really, really ready to move forward and start building stuff together. There's a lot of, we got to the new spot. Things have been good. We've got new faces. There is great stuff going on. But I feel like we haven't really emerged from the holding pattern that was, after the move. So one of the couple of themes of today's conversation, I think, is that looking ahead and thinking about what it took to get here, a little bit of reminder of what kind of things we're good at, and then a bit more of a conversation of where are you and where do you want to go. So before we go further into that, I want to hand it over to Adam and Sam to lead us in a little bit of a thank you, an expression of thanks.
Thank you, Alex. Let's say thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
But actually, before we do this, has everyone come to a burlesque show before? You know how burlesque works. So when I take off my shirt, okay, no?
And for everyone who's come to an improv show, you know that just when we ask for a suggestion.
We like doing this part of the town hall. I like doing this part of the town hall.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Where we have an opportunity to, yes?
We can't hear Sam. That mic doesn't seem to be working.
Is it still not? I'll just talk constantly, and you tell me when it starts working.
I can hear.
We can hear you. It's just much quieter than Adam's mic.
It's because I'm a woman.
Levels.
It's quieter than Adam.
Oh, wow. Rough.
Then I'll just keep talking. Is it better now? Just keep talking.
How's it sound? Sam, you can use your...
I'll keep talking more and more.
Thank you.
All right, great.
Thanks, Lydia.
Thanks for the feedback.
Okay.
So this is my favorite part of doing town hall, which is making sure that we start by offering gratitude and appreciation and celebration to all of the things that we've done before we got to here, to today. Some of these are things that are continually happening. These are things that are going to continue happening after today. Some of these are things that happened some time ago. We just haven't had a chance to acknowledge it out loud publicly. And we encourage you, as we're doing this, to think of anyone that you want to say thank you to or shout out for being really notable and remarkable.
Yeah, because we're by no means comprehensive on our list. And there's lots of little stuff that we don't know happens, and this is a great time to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So let's dive in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, first, I want to thank our plant mom, Abby, who, this is like the perfect JFDI. She said we should have more plants. So she got more plants. Like JFDI, it's amazing. And so now we have a jungle. that she and Sean and others take care of. So yeah, Plant Mom.
Oh yeah. I also want to shout out those who have been helping and hosting Lunch and Learn sessions. Those have been really awesome. Nick Gary, Dan Green, Mike T. That's you, Mike T. And Eric and Eric Fadden and Dan Beck. If any of you are joining in Zoom or if you're here, those events that are midday, those Lunch and Learn sessions have been really fucking cool.
And a breakfast one. We did a breakfast one too.
Yeah. So thanks. We hope that more people do more of those because those are a lot of fun during the day. Snaps are great.
Yeah. Thomas Cannon for starting the weekly wins. I'm really excited for that to be a tradition here of so every Friday at 10, we get together for half an hour, both on Zoom and in person. You grab a cup of coffee, you share what your wins were that week, and then you go off to win some more and to share the next week. And I think we don't take a lot of time, just like we're doing right now, to acknowledge when we're winning, when we have something that is cool, big or small, that happens and that you get done. And I'm so glad we had that reminder to do that.
We also want to shout out Lydia. Lydia, you're joining us on Zoom, yes?
She's no video.
No video, but she's there. Lydia has been doing hosting, organizing, and sharing indie skills for
over 2 years.
Yeah, over 2 years now. And for those who are unaware, Indie Skills is Lydia chronicling all of the times when Indie Hall members have helped each other with a specific skill or learning something, teaching something, those teachable moments that we can actually document. That happens every single day, but Lydia has taken it upon herself to watch for those, to record those, and to share a huge comprehensive list of everything that has happened at the end of the month. And it's awesome. And I want to thank Lydia for doing that.
Yeah. I also want to thank Eric for making Secret Santa happen. He's done it every year. The message this year was like, I don't want to presume you're going to do this, but secret. And he's like, yeah, I've already got it. Already done. And that is such, yeah, the party is next week. If you have not heard, Indie Hall a Day party. It's got a potluck. We're doing the Secret Santa. If you didn't sign up for Secret Santa, we will have a sock swap. So all you have to bring is a wrapped, new, unworn pair of socks. And it's kind of like a white elephant. Yeah, there's. You can bring Hanes white knee socks, but somebody's going to be like, this is too practical.
Well, the first year that we did this, I won socks that someone bought at the grocery store.
It was me. I bought them at the grocery store.
And those were great socks.
But
yeah,
they were also for probably young girls.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it's a really great time. I believe we called it for 6, so 6 to 10 or possibly later because we're just going to hang out. We'll have food. As we said, it's a potluck. There's a sign-up sheet, which I will link to. And please be there because we love you. And bring friends and family.
Mm-hmm. I want to shout out Kate and Kelly and Mariah and Jag and Bela and Claude, if they're here. Everyone who has participated in making this place look very nice for the holidays. And Jess, Snowflake Squad. Everyone
Snowflake
who
Squad?
cut snowflakes and put up the tree and the lights, and we're going to keep doing more. Vivian, absolutely. We have Instagram documentation of that happening. I think it's helped a lot, especially during a season when it's starting to get cold and dark. It's nice to come into something a little more festive, so I appreciate it very much.
Also want to thank the Girl Scouts. We've been talking about it for a long time, and now it is real. It is a thing. There are children in the space on Tuesday nights. And for all of the folks that have Girl Scouts, and also for Lancy, Joanna, Ariel, all of the people that are going to be teaching Girl Scout stuff or have so far, what a cool thing that we get to do. That's just magic.
Movie night, Sarah, you're here. Thank you for hosting movie night. Movie night was really rad. And also is Mike, thanks for doing movie night the other night when we watched Enemy. That movie's fucking weird.
And I love that. It's true. You set expectations. But I love that you were like, how can I pass this to somebody else that would want to host it, but also keep it going myself? That's awesome, because now it's going to be a thing that we do, but it doesn't always have to be just you. Very smart. Very smart.
Yeah, and I like to think that the space that we have here, the couches and the TV, everything is a little bit better oriented to moving around and making it so we can gather easily. So if you want to host a movie night, I know next week on Tuesday, Mike Jackson is hosting a music video night. And those sorts of things become a lot more achievable because of the space that we have now. So if you have an idea for it or something you want to watch together, then please talk to Sarah because she's done a couple. Talk to Mike. Talk to anybody that you want to share the idea with. We'll go from there. Yeah, we'll go faster. I'm just going to call this one out. Thank you, every single one of you here, for helping me when I was recovering from my surgery. That means a lot to me. It's been 2 months, 8 weeks as of this week.
You can punch him in the stomach
Well,
now.
don't. I feel pretty great, and Octavius, the dude who now has my kidney, is also feeling pretty great. He is a member of Indy Hall. He is very thankful. All of you made that possible for us.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Also want to thank Megan, who is not here, and Kathy for starting up the book drive, for this underwear drive that I think came from you, for all of these, and also for all of the wonderful Groupos posts we had right after the election about how can we contribute to charity, how can we make a difference, and for our anonymous donors who are matching donations to the 3 specific charities, the
ACLU, SLCS, and SLCS. Yes.
and Mazzoni Center. And for everyone who has donated, you can do that up until January 20th. And there were links in this week's announcements. I'll put them in next week's as well because I flippin' love that this is happening. I love that as a community we get to make a difference.
Yeah, and also the space that we're in right now, I want to acknowledge Saul for putting on our first ever First Friday show here in our new home.
And everyone who helped.
Everybody who was a part of that, everybody who hung and helped him when he was here the night of. That was a really great event. I was able to watch that from the hospital, and it looked like it was a blast, and I can't wait to do it again. Congrats, Saul, by the way.
And as we mentioned, ongoing things to always thank for. Read blood drives. You're a master. So for continuing to put on more than, are we at like 23, 24?
I think Reed is on mute. Reed, you're on mute.
There we go. Yeah, well, let's see. Summer of 15 was number 20. So December 15 was 21. April would be 22. This summer was 23. So coming up on number 24. 2 dozen.
24. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's
Thank you,
an
Reed.
over goal.
Who else has something they want to thank someone for or thank the community for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, as it comes to you, if you would like to, by all means, please share with us. Something that we really want to be cognizant of is, we say this every time we do town hall. When we do town hall, this is not the end-all, be-all, or the ending or the culmination of these kinds of conversations. Gratitude, I think, is very much the life stream of this place. Curiosity and appreciation for things that are taking place around us. We hope that we're really on top of that, and we share those wins with each other, and we say thanks from time to time. So while we're doing it now, we hope that's really just one opportunity, and you keep doing it always and always.
And along those lines, so as you probably know, Alex and I were at the European Co-working Conference, Co-working Europe, either way, and I heard an idea that I am just going to flat out steal. So thank you to Guy that I stole the idea from. I think he was German. And that is at their co-working space, they do monthly birthday parties. And so we were talking, yeah, right? So some people don't like their birthdays. Some people love their birthdays. Some people are in between. And so because of that, we haven't specifically done birthday parties for specific people unless you kind of call for it. Hey, I'm going to do a happy hour, right? But this way, we'll pick a set date. We're going to start it in January. We're going to have a celebration day. So it can be for your birthday. It can be for finishing a big project, getting a new job, moving, getting a new pet. What else?
Donating your kidney.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying.
Enough. But
I
your
think-
personal, professional, your community wins. We want to celebrate them together more often than just at town hall.
Yeah.
So we're going to have monthly celebration parties. And we're still figuring out what that's going to look like. So if you have thoughts, if you have ideas, if you're like, yes, 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 let's talk and we'll figure out how to make it work. Obviously, like everything here, we will not force anyone to participate because it's their birthday. It'll be as simple as saying, hey, my birthday's in May. Let's celebrate me for a minute.
Yeah.
So is Michael's. We have the same birthday.
And since it's December now, we are going to have our holiday party next week. So the first celebration birthday is for Jesus. And okay, just let it sink in. Happy birthday, J-Man. And in January, it's my birthday. So if anyone wants to share January with me, or if there's anything that you want to celebrate, let's do it. I think it'd be cool to do like a mid-month thing. And it's Oscar's birthday. So Oscar's going to be here. We're going to do cake stands. It's going to be crazy. If you want.
So.
Okay. So he's bad at headstands. I got you.
We had a root beer cake here once. So we're going to turn a little bit to some tactical stuff because as Alex mentioned, a lot of things have been when we're done with the move, and some stuff is not done from the move. Some stuff is in process, and we owe a lot of you an update on a couple of different things. So I'm going to pass it off to Alex.
Thank you. And thank you for the thank yous. Thank you. Endless thank you cycle. So after the move, right? A couple of things that have sort of been hanging over our heads, in some cases, literally, some outstanding projects, things that we just didn't finish around the move, and then we got busy with other things. Things related to lighting. We learned when we moved in that the lighting was positioned by our lighting installer, and in some cases, the heads are just pointed in a way that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. There's some darker areas. I know there was a call for some darker areas in our lighting conversations before we moved, but there's some areas that are unnecessarily dark. I have our lighting consultant, our lighting designer who helped us fit out our lighting situation to begin with, coming in here this Saturday with me to take a look at what we've got going on with our current lighting, look for some opportunities to improve, ranging from the positioning of where the heads are. I know that there's related to the brightness, sort of the other direction from areas that are dark, is I think because the lights are actually pointed down at our faces, these lights can give you a migraine. I know some folks have said, hey, is there something we can do about that? I think a lot of help can come from a professional coming in and helping us position the lights. We're going to do that on Saturday when there's less people here and we don't have to disrupt. And I'm hoping that plays a big role in improving that. At the same time, we have more lights to add. So we have a couple of leftover fixtures, either we over-ordered fixtures from the move, and I'm going to be looking to Terrell for some advice on where and how we can best place them, or if they're not the best fixtures, would he like to buy them back and suggest something else? At the same time, one of the nice things about the lighting system that we set up here, having so much based on track lighting means that we can add other lights that we like. So if you're in an area that is a little too dark or the light is a little bit glaring and you want to spend a little bit of time on eBay or Etsy or Wayfair or places where you can look up fixtures, looking up, I think it's 110 volt, small chandeliers, pendant fixtures and things like that. We can mix things up. Like right now it's very uniform throughout the space except for the couple little lounges. We can buy a little adapter that means we can put just about any light fixture that we want in these areas that are maybe a little bit darker, or we want to have something that's a little bit more of a glowy ambient light instead of a directed light, or there's some places where we do want more directed light. Point being, we're at a point where we know that there's some weaknesses in the lighting layout. I'm going to be getting some professional advice on that, but I'm also opening that up to the community for ideas, for suggestions. For those of you that are into interior design, decorating, love, home decorating blogs, one of the interesting challenges of a place like Indie Hall is a lot of the professional advice is about lighting offices, and you end up with this like very bright, corporate feeling. And I think while in some cases we've done a very good job of softening that with things like, the trim, which is another project that needs to be finished, and other finishes, the lighting is a work in progress project. Before I go on to the next thing, Sam, what do I have for time? Okay, got it. Good? Okay, so that's the situation with lighting. If you have thoughts, ideas, concerns about lighting, definitely come talk to me. There was definitely a couple of months where people were approaching me and saying, hey, is there something we can do about this? My answer was always yes, but I can't do it right now. I'm in the point where I have energy, attention, resources, and the support that I need to be able to answer those questions and come up with better solutions together. So this is step one of my door being open for that. Tactical project number 2 is internet related stuff. No secret that we had some major challenges with the internet right after we moved in. I won't go into the details of the saga with my relationship with Comcast, but it has resulted in some interesting things. Not the least of which is a general improvement in our internet performance or internet stability. Things still aren't perfect, and we're still working with them. Comcast actually fronted the cost of bringing in a third-party consultant to analyze the network and look, is there something that is not obvious to the Comcast folks and is not obvious to us, to see that we can improve the stability. We know where the major cause of the pain point is, and it's not, I'm not thrilled with the answer that Comcast gave us about how to solve it. So we brought in a third party to advise that. In addition to that, I mentioned I'm coming in on Saturday to do some work on the lighting. Keegan and I are also going to be finishing running a bunch of network cable that includes some of these wires that have been hanging here in the conference rooms. In the phone room, I believe there's one that still needs to be run properly or needs to be rerun. So those are a couple of very specific projects. And I'm sure there are more. There are rough edges to sand off of our move-in all over the place. And I am at a point where I think one of the best things that we can do is, instead of waiting for something to be broken or in the way, would be to carve out a project day, either an afternoon or a weekend, where we can, ahead of that day, brainstorm a list of things that we want to work on. I know Jess brought up a really fun idea. Actually, I think prototyped some stands to build for plants, getting plants up off the ground. Some folks have had ideas for improvements in the conference rooms to make them more comfortable, more usable. I think the biggest problem in this space, other than some of the technical glitches, is that we haven't really made our mark yet. Like, we moved in, it's really nice, it's really comfortable, but we haven't started solving problems together in the space. We haven't started leaving our fingerprints on stuff. And I'm really excited to be at a point where, again, we have the time, the resources, the energy to say, yeah, cool, let's figure out a way to make that better. So if there are things about the new space that we moved into, and I've been saying a lot about the space, but also online stuff. I've had some great conversations. Chris Colley and Abby Fretz and I chatted yesterday about some tools to augment things like gig swap and potentially indie skills. So that's a place where we gather to do something that it's already working, but is there a way to make it better? So while I'm addressing some of the tactical projects that I know need work, the lighting, the network, the installation of baseboard, or 3 off the top of my head. Sam, Adam, are there other big ones that I'm not thinking of? No. Okay. But if there's something that you are like, hey, what's the deal with this? I thought we were going to do this. Or is it possible to do this? Please ask. We're in a unique situation compared to where we've been for the last 18 months. And even before that, in our old space, where we've got a better baseline to build on. That was the theme of our last major town hall, was this space is different, but it is everything, the base function is built well, it's easier to modify, and it's ours. So this is my call to all of you who are here today, hanging out on Zoom and thinking forward. When you see, like, hey, it'd be really cool if, come talk to me, talk to us, talk to each other. Let's brainstorm. Let's find more ways to make this place feel like home, solve problems together. And if there are tactical projects that you want to get involved in and you don't know how to start, come talk to us. Let's make it happen. Oh yeah, the mural is a big one. Yeah, so the Indie Hall mural that Mike Jackson had been doing by the bike racks in the old space, we did successfully remove from the wall in a couple of pieces, which thank you for believing me when I said I could do it. Thank you for the crappy construction of that building for making it possible to do it. That mural is in pieces. We're going to be building a frame around it and being able to rehang it sort of like a triptych in 3 panels on the wall past the vending machine, which I'm super excited about. And Mike will be able to pick back up where he left off, drawing our community back into that beautiful Philadelphia city skyscape, which I'm very, very, very excited about. I'm going to hand it back to Sam.
So just like the monthly birthday celebration parties. Something else to bring this sort of conversation of what do we want to see, what do we want to do, what is something that you're seeing that we might not be seeing, I know words, is to bring back our culture club. So for those of you that remember, it took place in the old space for a little while. Culture club was a small set group of people who met, I believe, weekly. Sometimes we would do every other week, depending on the season, how people were feeling. And we would sit and talk about what folks are seeing in our community, in our space. Those two things are very intertwined. And we decided to switch because we realized that having it as a closed group didn't really make a lot of sense. That's not very indie hall for there to be a set group of people, and it felt exclusive. So then we did totally open culture clubs, which meant anybody can come, and eventually that just ran out of steam because, when it's open of like, hey, come on, let's talk, then, other stuff gets in the way. So, and then the move. So everything kind of felt like culture club of we have to talk about everything that we do. So, and something I realized when we were in Europe and I was in on conference stuff is that I feel very disconnected from how members are feeling about Indie Hall. And we do have one-on-one conversations, and I love those, and they're super valuable. But then it's a one-on-one conversation with me or a one-on-one conversation with the guys. We bring it back to the group. Most of the time we follow through. Sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle, and then it's a single person going like, okay, I had an idea, and that maybe didn't happen, maybe did happen. And if something didn't happen that you spoke to me about, and I apologize. So here's what I want to do. And this is, once again, we'll start in January just because the holidays are going to make everything crazy. But at the end of this meeting, if you want to be somebody who consistently comes to Culture Club and talks to us and shares, I think we'll do every other week because weekly is a little much. Probably meet our old time, I believe, was Fridays at 2, but we're flexible. We have pretty flexible schedules. Write your name down. We'll put it together in an open Slack group, and we'll talk about what times work best for folks and what our expectations are and what your expectations are for this group. The other thing that's going to be different than when we've done Culture Club before is that all meetings are open, but we'll have maybe 6 or 8 or even 10 people who are consistently there. You don't have to commit to Culture Club for your whole life. That's a lot to ask, but couple of months, and then when you get busy or you say, okay, I think I've had enough of this, then you can tap out and somebody else will take your spot. Also, if you are thinking of somebody who would be perfect for this that's not physically here right now or virtually here on Zoom, and by the way, virtual folks, of course, we will Zoom those meetings so that you can be part of them too. But if you think of someone who has a lot of ideas or has a lot of insights or has their finger on a pulse of something that we might not know, please let them know, because I'm really excited to feel less like we're doing stuff as a team, we're doing stuff, and more like as a full community team, we're doing stuff. Sound good? Yeah. Yeah.
That feeling of disconnect, I've been feeling myself as well, and I've talked to a bunch of other folks individually in a slightly different way. And part of it is how much of our conversations with each other are a reaction to something that happened instead of a proactive, hey, I'd like to make something happen, or I'm working towards this goal. Are there other people in this community who are working towards a similar goal? How can we help each other along? How can we build momentum together? And with the last year and a half being so absorbed by the move, I realized how little time I was able to make for people in the community in that way. And something adjacent to what Sam wants to lead, and having regular conversations about just the happenings, how people are thinking and feeling, and see what you're seeing. You are our eyes and ears everywhere. I want to open up myself in some more consistent ways. And another thing that I will be launching in January as well, I'm going to be doing an office hours series, which I hope it's been clear through any email that you've ever read from me, any conversation we've ever had, that you can approach me anytime to talk about a question, a problem, an idea. But I also know for a fact that I don't always look available if I am busy, it makes me look busy. And sometimes I just look busy, even though maybe I'm just listening to really loud music, whatever it might be. Setting up a regular schedule where you can mark off a time and say, I want to come spend 15 minutes, 20 minutes chatting about, it could be something related to Indie Hall, it could be something related to your business, something related to Philadelphia, another community that you're a part of or lead. I just want to make more time to show up for as many of you as possible. And I see there's lots more ways that we can do this, but this is a small effort that I want to make going forward. And part of my hope is that through doing this, we learn that there's a way for more of us to do this for each other. I would love for it to become the kind of thing where members say, I want to hold an office hours around a particular skill or interest that I have. And that way people know that this is a time that I've made to sit down and talk with other members about that thing, or to answer questions. We provide professional advice or just some cheerleading if that's what somebody needs. The big theme for me heading into the new year is making time for each other, because in the last year and a half, I feel like I have not been able to make as much time for the people around me, not limited to this community, but very much including this community. So I know that's something that really, it helps me do my job better. It helps me understand who this community is, right? We're a different community in some very important ways every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, because there are new people showing up. And I know there are members in this community who I haven't had a chance to sit down and have a conversation with. That's so, so important to me. And I hope that it's important to some of you too. So I'm going to take it on myself to lead by example and say, I'm making time to sit down with you, whether it's for the first time ever or for the first time in a while. That's a big priority for me for 2017. And if that's something that you're interested in replicating for yourself, I would encourage you to do that, and we can figure out ways to do that together. Cool? Awesome.
So the last part of our town hall meeting, because as you definitely know, we have been talking a lot about what we've been planning, what we've been thinking, where we are. But as we said, this is let's plan for 2017. What do we want to see? And this is more of a conversation with all of you guys, as well as just what we have been talking about, what we'd like to see. We've listed a couple of things. You might have come to this meeting with ideas of, I want to do this thing. I want to get everybody behind me. You might be like, oh no, I have to talk. And so I'll say a couple of things that might jog your memory from our last town hall. I put some broader topics that came up, but our last town hall was very much about goal setting. What do you want to see? What do you want to do personally, professionally, as a community? And there are a lot of overarching themes that I've noticed, and some of them we've definitely seen happen here at Indie Hall. Some of them I know are much more ongoing projects, and so we won't see results for a while. But some of the stuff that we heard about were people looking for more opportunities to collaborate. Folks that do writing or art wanted to do more things like that. Meg, I think that was you. More chances for us to say, I do a thing, let's do that thing together. A lot of folks were looking for more opportunities to teach. We haven't, so Lunch and Learns, we have absolutely seen folks say, I want to teach about web security, I want to teach about self-publishing books, I want to teach about being a business development for introverts. So what more do folks want to teach about? What more do folks want to learn about? Indie Skills is a great place for that, but we could also, we've talked about setting up a regular Lunch and Learn time, just like we have a regular show and tell time, so that you can say, okay, this month's Lunch and Learn, I want to do on knitting, which I would, or professional skills, or sharing about something that you've been working on and you just are itching to tell everybody about in a longer format than the 10-minute show and tells. A lot of folks are looking to level up personally and professionally. We've talked a little bit about ways to level up as a community. So if that jogs your thoughts of like, I want to level up personally in this particular way, there's probably people that want to do that too.
And to be a little more specific about that, those leveling up, the personal things were, I want to travel more, or I want to improve my wardrobe, or I want to buy a house. And then on the professional side, it could be things like, I want to learn a new skill, but it could also be, I want to move into a new industry, or I have a particular client that I want to get. Or a lot of people said that they wanted to, and this is related to teaching, but also a little bit different. A lot of people put wanting to write a book or something along those lines, writing a book, creating a video series, things like that. as a professional goal as well, which I thought was really, really interesting.
And that kind of ties into the last one, which was starting things. People saying they want to start a business, they want to start a book, they want to start traditions at the hall. And then the last one, which I think is my favorite, is share more. It goes along with teaching more, but just like we would have celebration days, more opportunities to share what you're working on, what you've learned, what you know. So those are very, very broad things. But we have the rest of the time to talk about stuff that you want to see in the space. It can be tactical stuff that we've kind of already gone through, or more specifics about what we've talked about. It can be something completely new. It could be something totally half-baked that we're excited to work through with you.
It could also be a question that you have about why something is a certain way or isn't a certain way, or whatever happened to. Nobody's going to go into the Full House song. Okay. But anyway, yeah. Jordan.
Sorry if I missed this, mentioned this earlier. Are we doing anything for the receptionist downstairs for Christmas?
We haven't actively talked about it. That's a great idea, though. Yeah.
Jordan
for
asked
folks-
about what we're doing for basically for the staff, the receptionist that's downstairs, but there are also wonderful people that make this place clean, and that we call when something's weird in the bathroom, and the mail people and all kinds of stuff. The Ghostbusters.
Yes, we should absolutely do something for the staff. In fact, I mean, I think that's a baseline, and I'm super open to ideas, suggestions. Is it something that we make together? Something we pool resources? Is there something cool that we have? Oh, move forward. I'm being asked to move forward. The other thing, and this is something that we can do, I think it would be valuable for us to extend an invitation to folks who work in the building to come by the holiday party next week. Another larger 2017 goal related to doing things for the staff and other people in the building is I would love to see us increase the connection to the people that we share this building with. There's lots of people we pass in the hallway, and at most we maybe know their names, but most of the time it's not even that. So being on the lookout for that in 2017, I think would be a really, really great thing. Did you have any particular ideas, or was that just were we going to do it? Okay, great.
Cool.
Let's make sure we write that down. I will write it down.
Well, Adam's taking notes on our
Are you taking
doc.
notes? I'm not going to write it down.
What else?
I wonder, this is more like, this is somewhat weather related, but that back space behind the building,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really excited for us to do something there in the spring. So that's more like,
But we can plan for it, yeah.
so like, even just like planning lunch groups or something to like have lunch buddies to go down there and things like that.
Yes. Yes. Also, I would love to do something that we almost never do, which is plan in advance and do something for the neighborhood and the building in that backyard. And that's the kind of thing where we can pick a date in, March or April or something like that and that's maybe even a little bit April. Yeah. We'll look at weather patterns, but we'll pick a date in advance and figure out what do we want to do and how do we want to make that happen. I would love to be making incredible use of that space as we can. Yeah.
And there is covered area down there too.
That's true.
Yeah, that's where they've been setting up for some of the other businesses in this building. I've seen do lunch things that I want to try and crash, but I haven't. That sort of thing.
We could, I bet, with a little bit of planning, we could even do a little like winter something back there with, yeah, that could be really, that could be like
Yeah.
hot cider and
Mulled wine.
we could get
Christmas market.
we could do like because
Snow
so one of the
angels.
questions that I had when we moved in this building at that patio, I was looking for what is the softest way to ask, can we barbecue back there? Because I was worried. I'm like, insurance company, fire, maybe they're a little more cautious than we are. And I found an inn in a conversation like, oh yeah, we do stuff like that all the time. And I assumed they'd set up like a little gas burner, bring a catering company. And they had 4 charcoal grills with giant flames coming off of them. So they're not afraid of fire at all.
So campfire.
We got to plan around it. I don't want to surprise them. I think the key to any of these things in these shared spaces in the building is not surprising them, but I continue being pleasantly surprised by them when we suggest, hey, here's something that we want to do that would potentially make something we can invite the building to, make the building nicer. They're really open-minded to it. So Absolutely.
Along the lines of shared space, and I think Stefan has asked about this. A couple people have asked, but in that conversation, I'd also like to find out if or when we could use the yoga room
Oh yeah.
for meditation, for
Yes.
yoga classes.
Yeah.
There's a yoga room on this floor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know. What? Right?
So the deal with the yoga room is Colonial Penn has a wellness program. So they set up a room that is about the size of this gallery. It's got carpeting, some yoga balls, a couple of treadmill desks because that was a thing for a minute. And it gets used for a cumulative 90 minutes per week at most. We don't have a key, essentially, and this goes into that category of, I'll talk about it later. I wanted to move in, get to know our building mates, and sort of get things settled before I started asking for weird stuff. I'm certain that if I were to turn to Ray, who's the building manager, and he would have to probably ask his boss and say, hey, we want to do some sort of semi-regular schedule of yoga or meditation, and we open it up to other people in the building, that they would absolutely let us, because it's just a key card like anywhere else in the building. So I'm very confident in that, in being able to make that happen. Let's make that a goal for January for sure.
What else?
Thomas.
I've gotten used to this, but it was pretty hard to move in and not really get used to it. But I think it's probably still pain point, especially for people standing desks, the lighting. They're very directional.
Yes.
And so if one is pointed at you, even if it's far away,
Yeah.
and so I don't know that you can really point them anywhere and have not pointed to somebody.
So I mentioned before, and I'm not sure if you were here before, Terrell, who helped us choose this lighting, is coming in on Saturday. One of my questions for him includes, does a diffuser of some kind exist for these heads that will make it a softer spread light? And if not, I have an email into our friends at Hive 76 to figure out how to 3D print something. Because I think we can make some adjustments, but I agree. There's a certain point where we will get a different performance out of these lights with some sort of diffuser. Jess and I were talking about an idea where it's a diffuser and like almost a reflector. Because the other problem about these heads that I didn't know when we chose them is that they point down or straight out, but not up. And one of the biggest problems with lighting the space currently is we have no uplighting. So I'm also of the mind that we may want to replace some of these heads with heads that point up and reflect light off the ceiling. Because you'll notice that areas where, like in the kitchen and the gallery, where there is wall space to reflect off of, it's really bright. But when there's windows to reflect off of, or nothing but our desks or our faces to reflect off of, those are the areas that get dark. So we need to do something to get more uplighting, and I think that will also give us an opportunity to remove some of this more in-our-face directional lighting. Because yeah, I mean,
There's one on me right now.
Lots of folks. The best news is we have lots of flexibility. Again, a big advantage to choosing the tracks. The heads are relatively cheap. I've now gone through and I've actually moved and adjusted them, not just in position, but also the placement on the track. And like I said earlier, we can also go out and scout out different fixtures. Both, like we could do an entire track of a new fixture, or if we wanted to take a section of these out and replace it with a different kind of fixture that was like a pendant or a chandelier or something like that, there's a really easy adapter to be able to do that. So absolutely. That's a big priority, and I'll know more after my conversation with Terrell on Saturday about what he recommends, and we'll barrel forward.
Will conference room lighting be included in Saturday's?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Conference room, phone rooms specifically. Phone rooms. Yeah, the lights in the phone rooms, not as advertised. I hate that they feel like an interrogation booth. I took a look at what it would feel like to put the globes, like so we have a few more of these globes in there. It's way better, but it's still too dim. So in that case, I'm looking to Terrell for just an entirely new fixture or set of fixtures. They're going to be super easy to install. Now that I know what to do, it's the kind of thing that me and one or two other people could get done inside of an hour or two once we get the right fixture. That's in that lighting priority. That's a big one. You've been asking about it. I appreciate you asking about it again. Yes.
I went for library lights.
Yeah, what are those?
The desk lights?
Like the desk lights you see at libraries where it's like brass.
Can you do some like do some eBay research and like see what we can find? Yeah, absolutely. That's true. Like we don't have. Yeah, we're relying heavily on the built-in light. I'm totally game for more tabletop lights for more floor lights. Like we can layer the space with light, which also means if we add lighting of one kind, we can potentially move or remove the other kinds of light that are harsh and more distracting. These are the kinds of things when I say we can make it our own, it's so much easier to make these changes here and now. The only thing I'll ever ask is if you've got an idea like that, I will likely, if you don't already do it, I will like say, hey, cool, let's do some research. Have you done a little bit of digging into what's already out there? And if not, well, let's do that together.
So we have about 10 minutes left because I do want to respect your time. So I'm going to request for the next couple things. If it's a question, we'll give a brief answer and talk after this.
Yeah.
But also, if you want to just toss out ideas, let's make it like a brainstorming last 10 minutes.
I like that idea a lot, brainstorming.
Because this is a great opportunity, but we can also get really in detail about stuff after this.
Totally.
Oh no, I shut it down.
Yeah.
Gender neutral restrooms.
Yeah.
So I will find out more about they had to put a handicap accessible bathroom on this floor in order for us to pass code. And it is a single person, single use bathroom, and it is gender neutral. I know that they had to run the plumbing. I just don't think everything's hooked up, or it is hooked up and they just put a sign on it that says not in use. So I'm going to find out why or what it's going to take to use it. There's, again, lots of people have brought that one up. Thank you for bringing it back up. Make sure it's on the notes, and I'll put it on my list to talk to Ray about it.
And also related to bathrooms, Alex has been on the lookout for Sonos speakers that are on sale because we know you can hear a pin drop in there.
A pin.
Basically, the idea that you build something so that you can pass code. By the way, we're not even sure if the plumbing's hooked up. I'm like, what kind of code is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to construction in Philadelphia, I've learned.
It's HTML, I think.
Um,
Oh, he knows that.
No. Saying the issues that we.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I know. It's true. Ariel and I only talk in the bathroom. Folks online as well. Does anybody have any questions or ideas or thoughts you want to toss out? All right, Kathy's got one while you
you're
think.
thinking online. Yeah.
I just think, given the space, that it would be really nice to have some kind of education center, not just for us, but for the community. And I volunteered with, I mentioned it way back, that I love this part of the like that, kind of that kind of education. I really think we could sort of like remember the old learning annexes, which we don't have anymore, to have something like that, with the community as a core, you have something still, we have people who really need it. And I think and that there might be ways to set some.
Because this is something that we talked about like last week. So for those of you online, Kathy's saying, wouldn't it be cool if there was some sort of educational center here, like the Learning Annex, because so many people have skills and like amazing skills. There's so many members that I don't even know what they're working on, and it's probably going to amaze me. So yes. Absolutely would love to figure out a way to get that started. If you are like, I want to practice teaching, or I want to reach out and make a difference or something like that, it would be great to put together something that is Indie Hall based so that it can still have our spirit, our DNA.
I think it'd be awesome to start with like a little roundtable conversation. I would love to have you be a part of leading that. Any other people who are interested in professional education, just general skills learning, and we can figure out what that could look like.
Some of us have a lot of experience teaching, and if you've never taught a class, it can be,
Teaching how to teach.
it can be terrifying.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, there are ways to run a core, you can run a class, you can have people online, you can do podcasts, you can do online teach. I even have a course on courses.
Yeah.
So definitely we'll
Yeah.
Totally.
You just mentioned podcasts. Has anybody ever thought, hey, it would be kind of cool to start a podcast, but have just no idea where to start? So a couple of hands. Cool. Okay. I want to help you because we've got some rad gear, and Adam and I and a couple other folks have learned a lot about producing stuff. It's here. There's no reason not to. And I'd love for us to rally around people sitting down, recording what they know, learning how to launch a show. It's really easy, and it's a lot of fun. I can say with confidence, I've been putting stuff out into the world to share what I know for a while. I've never gotten the kind of response that I've gotten since launching a podcast, right? Connecting with people in a completely different way. The way people reach back out to me is totally different. If you aren't thinking about it, I would encourage you to think about it. So that's another thing that I think we can do a little roundtable conversation. Maybe invite some people to a table with enough curiosity to say maybe, and see where it goes from there.
What else?
Jess.
We were all kind of talking about this briefly yesterday about things like I'm not sure how we solve them. What's up? We were talking about this a little bit yesterday, so I thought I'd pose it as how can we make this better? Anything from the Let's Go channel or anything that's not related to doing things in the space, whether it be going to museums, the thing we do very well is going out at happy hour, but going beyond that, going to museums, going on a trip to a winery or going somewhere for the weekend, we have a lot of people that suggest ideas, and then everyone kind of sits in that space like, are people actually going? Did people buy their ticket? Do I buy the tickets first? There's no formal way that we put an outing together that makes people feel like, okay, this is easy to be a part of, and I'm not really sure how to fix that. I just know a lot of people suggest things, and then a lot of times we never do it, just because no one's sure how to move forward with that idea.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to throw that out there if anyone has an idea.
Yeah.
Totally. I've also been wanting more outings related to that are kid-friendly, family-friendly sorts of things. Oh, hello. So you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I do not have kids. I work with kids, so I've seen them. But I've seen them. But I saw them. But so anybody with kids with ideas for how to do that, anybody with kids who just are happy to say that's not going to work, please, because that's such an interesting. But it's an interesting faction that because the three of us do not have kids, hasn't really been part of what we do at Indie Hall. But there are lots and lots of members who do, and
Or having their first soon. Sarah, yeah.
I would also say if you don't have kids, it would be awesome to partner with someone that has kids to play those games. The thing that I can get cheap tickets to our museum and figure out hours where you can take your kids, and it's fun. But then the other stuff like where's the bar or where's the place to do brunch, like the things that engage everyone else, like that's the part that gets kind of tough. Like, yeah, it could take off before that happens with my kids, but like if Sam can figure out like where the brunch place is or the bar place, and that takes so much pressure off me because I'm not doing that every week. I don't know. Like, I go to Starbucks.
you think I'm a lot cooler than I am.
I'm feeling like a theme where we could whether I don't know how often it could happen. Any one of these topics we're talking about, these like improvements, starting point, I would love to have a roundtable where you can bring together people who are interested in complementing the idea and say like, well, what do we have and what do we need in order to get the first version of this going? Because that sounds fantastic. I have two. I'm not going to do much more than treat them as conversation starters, but these are more conversations that I would like to have through the holidays into the new year. One is nights and weekends. Who are people that like working nights and weekends, who don't come to Indie Hall because we're not super populated nights and weekends? Who are people that would potentially be here if there was a way to know people, earn your way in terms of the trust component? We don't want strangers coming into Indie Hall nights and weekends, but how do we build a nights and weekends component to our community? That's a question, not an answer, but I know there's a lot of people very interested in it. And it's something that we have the technical abilities to do in this building, whereas in the past we did not. So it's more the social structure that we've got to figure out, but I know we can. The second thing is a thing that came up a bit at the conference and in a few other conversations that I've had over the last month as the topic of diversity. Both honestly, any kind of underrepresented community. You can come into Indie Hall on any given day, and there are women, there are people of color, but they're generally going to be in the minority. And I think it's worth having a candid, open conversation about why that is and what we can do about it. And obviously, I'm looking around the room, and with a couple of exceptions, this is a pretty white room. So the members of our community who are underrepresented communities, both here at Indie Hall and in general, this is my open invitation to you. like help me lead that conversation, help me figure it out. This is a question, not an answer. I don't have the answer. I know I can't answer this myself. I've had some tremendous conversations with members in our community about it, and just helping me wrap my head around how to even ask the question. And that's something that's like really top of mind for me. That includes students as well, parents. Honestly, we've had conversations with people who are like, I would love to be here, but the variability of my schedule with my kids makes it really hard. Or just the cost component for people who are bringing up families, people who are new into a career or transitioning into a career. Lots of ways to think about not just diversity, but accessibility for a more diverse population here at Indy Hall is only going to make Indy Hall stronger. I want to have that conversation. I want to be able to approach even the hard parts of that conversation, and I need help with that. So that's a conversation starter for the room.
And something along those, so like the thing that we're all pointing to are blind spots that as like an admin team we have. So we can talk about these things till, you know, our faces turn blue, but we don't really know. We don't know what it's like to bring kids to an event. We don't know what it's like to, how to do things. And the other thing that I have a blind spot for, and I'm very curious and I'm excited to play in and figure out and find more answers, is also with our remote folks, our virtual members.
You're real members. It's the medium that's virtual.
Exactly. And so along the lines of folks who can't be here physically, whether because you live further away, you have to be home taking care of your kids, maybe your job requires you to be somewhere else. I am always looking for more ways to make it feel like you're in the room and to make events accessible, to make daily life stuff accessible. When Adam was recovering for his surgery, we wheeled the Zoom in so that we could have lunch with him. It was weird. That TV is really big for one person to be on by themselves. But we've done remote show and tells. So I think this is a really cool playground basically to play in, because there's so much technology. There's so many brilliant people that are better at online stuff than I am. And so this is something I'm constantly playing with. And so if you have thoughts on things that have worked, that have definitely not worked, please come talk to me, because I love it.
We're at 1:00. So
Yep.
I want to be respectful of people who need to get to meetings or just back to work in general. But I think as Sam and Adam both opened this conversation is the beginning of a conversation, not the end. A lot of the hour was us sharing information. We're going to do a town hall variant I would like to get to monthly, so that we don't spend an hour talking at you and we have more opportunities for these more roundtable conversations.
And Culture Club.
And Culture Club. So this was a bit of catching up from the last months and moving forward. But if anything in this conversation piqued your interest, Adam was diligently taking notes if it was something that was said out loud. If you didn't say it out loud, you're not ready to say it out loud, my personal invitation, I will absolutely always make time. And that goes for us as well. That is why we're here. And also encourage you to talk to each other. Like, you don't have to talk to us as the first people. Talk to the people who you do know. Talk to people who you don't know about it and see what they think. And if, you know, a couple of people have already had a conversation about something and you're excited about it, by the time 2 people come to us with it, 3 people come to us with it, all we really have to do is say, all right, well, what can we do to help you make that happen? That's an exciting turning point. But thank you for taking the hour. Thanks for taking the time, and thoughts on how we can improve and increase the amount of dialogue so that we don't have to wait for a conversation, a formal conversation like this, is warmly welcome. So anything else, guys?
And we're on Slack. We're here. Continuing conversations. Yeah.
Cool.
Yay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And thanks online folks.
And if you want to sign up for Culture Club, I have a little sheet. You do not have to